financial situation may change, though your all of life may change, he will not change. His word will not change. His power will not change. So therefore, we need to hold on to that which will not change. I may change, but I'm holding on to him because I know that he won't change. He doesn't change his mind about our lives. He doesn't change his mind about the things that he wants for us. He doesn't change his mind about what he has for you. He is the unchanging God. We might change, but he will not change. We've got to have to trust his character. Hebrews 6:17 says this. Hebrews 6:17. It says, in the same way, God, desiring even more to show to the heirs of the promise the unchangeableness of his purpose, interposed with an oath, so that by two unchangeable things in which it is impossible for God to lie. God desires to show you that he's unchanging in his promise. So he makes us a promise and an oath. Now I want you to understand that oftentimes a promise and an oath, we get those two things confused, but maybe I'll help clarify it this way. God gives a promise, and then he guarantees a promise by himself. It goes like this. Abraham, he promises to give him descendants. He promises Abraham, I'm going to give you as many descendants as there are sands on the seashore and as the stars in the sky. Those shall be your descendants. Abraham does not have any children. His wife is barren. But yet God gives him this promise. But how many of you recognize that a promise is only as good as the one who gives it? A promise is only as good or trustworthy as the one who gives the promise. And so what God does then, he goes on and he later on, he puts Abraham to sleep. And he seals this promise by walking between the fire of the sacrifice. And he makes an oath that he will keep his promise. He makes covenant with Abraham to himself. He doesn't trust Abraham to do it. He makes it with himself. He himself walks through this and makes the communion with himself. Why? Because he's not going to lie. He's not going to lie to himself. He knows that Abraham will change his mind according to the situation. But I'm going to make an oath to myself and guarantee the promise for you. So what does he say? He says, first, I'm going to give the promise, and then I'm going to promise that I'm going to promise to keep the promise. Oh, come on, somebody. See, I want you to understand that, he's not going to change his mind. He's not going to be someone whose character will vary according to the circumstances. God is God, and he's a God that you know will always be God. Oh, come on, somebody. See, our faith is going to have to be founded on these ingredients of trusting his word, trusting in his power, and trusting in his character. And see, all three of these things must be present because, number one, if you don't trust his word, you're going to end up trusting someone else. And they are a man, and they can lie. You will end up trusting someone else's power if you don't trust his. You will trust in a power that will fail. You will trust in someone who does not have all power. You will trust in someone that will die or pass away. And you have to trust in his character. So how many of you recognize, like I said, you can't even trust yourself. So you're going to have to trust in God. You're going to have to trust in someone in this life that is better and greater than everyone else. And that is what gives us faith. We have faith that we can trust his word. We have faith that we know that he's the omnipotent, omniscient, all-wise God. And we have faith in knowing that we can trust his character. that we can always know that he's going to do what he said he's going to do. And even when I don't see what's happening, I still can trust that he's still going to do what he said he's going to do. See, our faith is not based on what we believe is possible, but our faith is in the God of the impossible. See, trusting God is not taking a risk. Having faith in God is not taking a risk, but having faith in God is what pleases him. And having faith and living in the blessings of his word and in his power and his character, that pleases God. How many of you would love to have someone, a child, your child come up to you and say, you know, Dad, you're a good man. I can always trust you. I can always believe that you're going to do whatever you can do to get me out of a situation. And that I can trust that everything that you say is worthy to be trusted. But I want you to understand, that's mere men. God is the only one. God is the only one. And see, we hold ourselves and we hold people accountable to something that they could never accomplish. People fail. People fail. No matter how good I try to be, how perfect I try to be, I'm not perfect. I'm a man. And when we hold others to a higher degree than we hold ourselves, we're failing. Because guess what? Y'all ain't perfect either. So the only one that we can hope to hold on to that will never fail us is God. And we need to place all of our faith in him. Amen. Amen. Bless the Lord.